Should I, F20, apologize to a guy, M21, for telling him why I don't want to date him? I, F20 / have known a guy named Jason, M21 / for a year, and he introduced me to his best friend Matt, M21 /. After we started doing school virtually, we stayed in contact through social media. One night during the summer the three of us decided to hang out and drink via Zoom. Matt ended up sharing that he had recently broken up with his girlfriend of 3 years and was devastated about it. He told us he had been cheating on her with her friend for the last 6-ish months of the relationship, and the friend eventually told his girlfriend. He told us he was heartbroken, and that he truly loved her and had made a mistake. I wasn't sure what to do, so I just kept quiet and listened and let Jason comfort Matt. It was an uncomfortable situation, but I didn't want to pass judgment. The Zoom call ended not long after, and the three of us didn't talk for a while apart from the odd message or meme being sent back and forth. Fast forward to last week, Matt hits me up to let me know that he's going to be renting a place in my area for the next while because he moved out of his parents' house. He then asked me if I would be interested in going on a date, and confessed that he liked me for a while and thought we had good chemistry. The issue is that I don't date people who I know have been unfaithful, whether they were unfaithful to me or someone else. I should mention that I haven't been cheated on, it's just a rule I set for myself a long time ago. So I told him no. He was a little bit upset and asked me why I wasn't interested, so I was honest about it. I told him truthfully that I didn't feel comfortable entering a relationship with him because of how he cheated on his past partner repeatedly, and that infidelity has always been a deal breaker for me. I tried to be as polite as possible because I'm non-confrontational and genuinely wasn't trying to upset him, and he seemed to take it well although disappointed. A few hours later I get a call from Jason, and he's super angry. He tells me it was super out of line for me to bring up Matt's past relationship, that it was none of my business anyway, and that I basically just called Matt damaged goods and told him no one would want him. He told me that Matt felt like his dating life was ruined and that I was super cold for bringing up his past and that I could have just said no. I know I'm not wrong for saying no to a date because I'm allowed to do that for any reason, but I'm wondering if I should have lied when he asked me why. It didn't occur to me at the time to lie, but I'm thinking now that I could have said literally anything else and it wouldn't have caused such a big scene. I just feel like this is kind of a consequence of what he did and I'm allowed to set my own boundaries. But then again, maybe I should have kept that to myself. I don't get the feeling that Matt is angry with me, but Jason definitely is, and maybe what I said to Matt was too far. Should I be apologizing? Too long didn't read : / I told a guy I didn't want to date him because he cheated in his past relationship, but now I think that might have been inappropriate. His friend is very angry with me. A. This is none of Jason's business. B. If Matt is so pissy about being called out for being a cheater, you kind of know he is highly likely to cheat again. He also tried to wave it off as he made a mistake. Cheating on someone once might be a mistake. Cheating on someone repeatedly for 6 months is a choice, and he only regretted it when he got caught. No, you do not owe anyone an apology. Matt asked you out, you declined. He then asked the reason why and you answered him truthfully. Jason is out of order complaining to you. Next time you talk to Jason, tell him you answered a question honestly regarding the reason you did not want to go out with Matt. No need to apologize. He asked why, you told him the truth. Jason is out of line for getting after you about this, it's none of his business and Matt had already disclosed his cheating to you. No, don't apologize, they are both jackasses. Should ditch them both. Nope. Don't apologize. Matt asked a question and you gave an answer. If he equates past infidelity, and a lack of accountability for it, to damaged goods, that's his problem. Simple as that. Also, Jason's gotta pick up a hobby. No person should have enough time to call up a romantic interest and berate them for gently letting down a friend. That's just weird. This one made me laugh. I'll definitely be telling Jason to get a hobby now. Smile. How to get my boyfriend to recognize the importance of sequencing, and stop saying I know all the time when his actions clearly demonstrate that he doesn't. without being a nag. Hi, I, 24F, have been with my BF, 25, for about a year now, and we've recently moved in together. We'd be staying together at least 4 nights a week prior to moving in together, so I think we both had a decent idea of what we were getting ourselves into. I don't have any major complaints about our relationship, but obviously there is a few things that are bothering me, or this post would be pointless. My BF has this habit of saying that he knows when he's doing the opposite thing of what I just asked or told him. I find this very annoying. How do I prevent this? Also, I feel like he has a lot of trouble prioritizing things. For example, I asked him to wash specifically the pan and spatula so I can prep dinner, so it will be ready before my online evening class. He starts doing all the dishes, which is nice, but he waits until the end to do what I specifically needed to make our dinner, which in turn holds up the entire progress. Another good example, we are moving some furniture today, and this is the last day we can move things with a borrowed car for a while, and he sent me a text asking if the smudge on something we needed to print mattered, when ideally he would have left 45 minutes ago so we can stay on schedule. I don't want to nag at him, I don't find that to be enjoyable. However, I do get tired of being told I know if he doesn't. It's kinda like teens do. It's also exhausting that he doesn't always think through things and how they should be done before doing them. I know a lot of this struggle is related to the fact he's never moved out before. This is my 7th apartment, but any tips to avoid the situation in the future from getting too tense would be vastly appreciated. Edit, some of you guys are super uncalled for. I'm not his slave, and I'm asking too much of his to wash a few things. I do all the laundry, 80% of the cooking, all the household cleaning and organizing, errands, while still attending to colleges, and working as a freelancer. The only thing I ask my BF to do is the dishes. Bug off, nobody is beating a puppy here. I'm his partner, not his mum. I do hope that the only household task he must do he can do in a way that gets dinner on the table before 9 p.m. I completely understand where you're coming from. Mine does this too. I know for him, it isn't coming from a place of oh she wants the spatula. Gonna wash everything else first. And more, wash big stuff first, wash plates, wash cups, wash silverware. He thinks that's the best order. We're both slightly compulsive in the way we do things. At this point I don't even let it bother me. Try to see if your BF has a method to his madness. And if he's not being a jerk on purpose, maybe cut him some slack, or get in there and start drying everything beside him and make it go faster. I know a lot of this struggle is related to the fact he's never moved out before. Out of his parents' house. Follow-up question: what does he do instead of just knocking out the dishes? Just trying to figure the mental maturity. I do all the laundry, 80% of the cooking, all the household cleaning and organizing, errands, while still attending to colleges, and working as a freelancer. The only thing I ask my BF to do is the dishes. Coming from the standpoint of a male that's in his 30s, it's pretty cake just having dishes. I've had multiple female roommates in the past and we usually split chores 50-50. I'm his partner, not his mum. And why are you responsible for almost all of the domestic duties? Let me guess, you split the bills 50-50 too? Sounds to me like he's really the one benefiting from the relationship and you'd be better off on your own. Nothing worse than having an incompetent man in your space. I'm slightly neurodivergent and likely have mild undiagnosed ADHD. There's certain tasks or sets of tasks that I have to do in a certain way/order, or it causes serious dissonance in my brain. Imagine if someone put a smoke alarm next to your ear and just followed you around with it going off. That's what it's like if I try to force myself out of certain routines. Do I know it's not always the best or most efficient way? Yes. Does knowing that make a difference? Not even a little. 15 years ago I didn't understand anything about neurodivergence, or that what was happening in my brain wasn't that terribly abnormal. I didn't know how to express or explain it. My wife would get annoyed by my routines, especially when they weren't efficient and would slow things down, or if she tried to help changing the routine, and I suddenly became essentially unable to function because my brain would shut down. Her annoyance and resentment grew. because to her I was just being stubborn and stuck in my ways. I'd respond to her irritation with my own. I know because I did know, and knowing only made it more frustrating for me. It took years for me to figure out what was going on and why I was unable, not unwilling, unable, to alter my routines drastically. Once I was able to express that, I could start working on building the tools to mitigate it and be able to work on challenging myself. At the same time, she had to come my way a bit and have some understanding that she needed to be flexible and give me the space to do things the way I needed to do things, and to approach urgent need for change in different ways instead of nagging and getting frustrated with me. I know you really need to do things in a certain order, but we're really on a tight schedule here and it would help a lot if you could do this part first if you can. I hope my story helps in some way. My 24F coworker, 21M, keeps telling me gross sex stories and asking me for sexual advice while around customers and coworkers, and I don't know how to handle it without it affecting the work environment. My coworker recently has been telling me very detailed stories about his girlfriends. Yes, I said girlfriends. No, the 4 girls somehow don't know. It ranges from his sex, to how their body looks, and everything in between. He is very egotistical. He thinks he's hot shit, and a gift to anyone who gets to be with him. I am the type of person, unfortunately, that aims to please everyone for the sake of a decent workplace environment. I don't ever want to be the reason drama starts, and I tend to try making the drama end with me instead of passing it on. I'm struggling because this guy has no filter even when he's around customers. I work at a rather lenient retail store when it comes to rules. Management doesn't really enforce things like the uniform, or having phones while at the register, stuff like that, etc, etc. And I'm trapped having to listen to him because I'm at a register helping my own customer and he just starts talking to me like no one is even there. He makes humping motions, or mentions something vague enough over the radio about a previous conversation that none of our co-workers would know the context, but I would. He sexualizes customers and asks me to get the numbers of girls who come in, and I say no, but he pushes it in a way that I feel like he genuinely believes I should do it for him. Oh, and he has started to try and figure out what type of guy I'm into by asking which co-workers I'd have sex with, and then going into detail of what it'd be like, all while at work with no regard to who can hear. I feel trapped. I laugh it off because I don't want to flat out tell him I'm sick of him talking to me like that, and then making it awkward and insufferable while I work with him. I don't necessarily want to talk to a manager, because they are all guys and I don't want them thinking I'm just complaining, and I also don't want them talking to the guy because I'm pretty sure my coworker would be able to easily trace it back to me, and thus making it an issue if he gets written up or anything. Let me end this by saying I'm not a prude. I don't mind stories about sex, asking for advice or the like by my friends, or people I consider close. I can joke about it all day with them. But I do not consider this guy a friend, or even an acquaintance. I dread working with him. Another note, I don't think he finds me attractive. I know his type, unfortunately, and I'm definitely not it. I just think he's a flirty sexual type but has no boundaries. I don't know how to navigate this. He is unprofessional. This is the job of you, coworker, manager, and boss, to educate and correct his behavior as an employee. He shouldn't be doing that as a front office employee in front of customers. You should involve the entire staff to set him straight. He needs to separate personal and work life during working hours.